So next one, characteristics of equilibrium constants. Characteristics of equilibrium constants. It is useful to predict the extent of the reaction. The equilibrium constant is useful to predict the extent of the reaction. The reaction having equilibrium constant more value goes to more completion towards product sites. If Kc value is more means that reaction will be more completion towards product sites. If Kc value is less means less completion towards product sites. Kc value more means that extent of reaction will be more. Extent of reaction will be more towards product sites. Kc value is less means extent of reaction will be less towards product sites. I'll ask one simple question. Which of the following reaction goes to more completion? Which of the following reaction goes to more completion? Reaction having Kc value 1, reaction having Kc value is 10 power minus 2, reaction having Kc value is 10 power 5, reaction having Kc value 10 power 10. It goes to more completion towards product site. Here Kc value is more. Already we know this general formula for this reaction. Kc is equal to C concentration into D concentration by A concentration into B concentration. Kc is nothing but the product of molar concentrations of products to the product of molar concentrations of reactants. Here Kc value is more is nothing but product concentration will be more. When should be that Kc value will be more? If this value is more. If product concentration is more, then Kc value will be more. Kc value is more means product concentration is more. That means that reaction goes to more completion towards product sites. Next one. It is useful it depends on stoichiometry of the reaction. It depends on stoichiometry of the reaction. That Kc value depends on stoichiometry of the reaction. See, for example, for this reaction, equilibrium constant is K1. For this reaction, equilibrium constant is K1. Then for this reaction, equilibrium constant is how much? Half mole of A2 plus half mole of B2 gives rise to 1 mole of AB. For this reaction, equilibrium constant is K1. For this reaction, I am taking K2. See, if this equation is multiplied with the 2, then we will get this equation. If entire this equation is multiplied with the 2, then we will get this equation. Here relation between K1 and K2 is K2 is equal to K1 power 2. K2 is equal to K1 power 2. If a reaction having equilibrium constant K1 is multiplied by a factor n, then equilibrium constant for new reaction is K2. Therefore, K2 is equal to K1 power n. If a reaction having equilibrium constant K1 is multiplied by a factor n, then equilibrium constant for new reaction is K2, then K2 is equal to K1 power n. See here, half mole of A2 plus half mole of B2 gives rise to AB. For this reaction, equilibrium constant is K1. Whole equation multiply with the 2. If we multiply with the 2, we will get this one. Then relation between that K1 and K2 is equal to K1 power. We are multiplying with 2, na? So 2. K2 is equal to K1 square. If a reaction having equilibrium constant K1 is multiplied by a factor n, then equilibrium constant for new reaction is K2, then K2 is equal to K1 power n. Next one, it depends on mode of representation of the reaction. It depends on mode of representation of the reaction. mode of representation of the reaction. See, for example, for this reaction, if equilibrium constant is K1, A plus B gives rise to C plus T. For this reaction, equilibrium constant is K1. For its reverse reaction, equilibrium constant is K2. For this reaction, equilibrium constant is K1. For its reverse reaction K2, then we can write K2 is equal to 1 by K1. K2 is equal to 1 by K1. It depends on mode of representation of the reaction. If the reaction having equilibrium constant K1 is reversed, if the reaction having equilibrium constant K1 is reversed, then equilibrium constant for the reverse reaction is K2, then K2 is equal to 1 by K1. Next one. If the reaction takes place in more than one step, if the reaction takes place in more than one step, then equilibrium constant for overall reaction is product of equilibrium constants of individual steps. If the reaction takes place in more than one step, if the reaction takes place in more than one step, then equilibrium constant for overall reaction is product of equilibrium constants of individual steps. For example, I am taking this general reaction. A gives rise to D. For this reaction, equilibrium constant is K1. If the same reaction takes place, in different steps, A to B, B to C, and C to D. Here it takes place in single step A to D. For this reversible reaction, equilibrium constant is K1. This reaction takes place in several steps, 3 steps. I am taking for this K, K1, K2, K3. Then overall equilibrium constant K is equal to, this overall equilibrium constant K is equal to K1 into K2 into K3. If the reaction takes place in more than one step, then the equilibrium constant for overall reaction is product of equilibrium constants of individual steps. Here this K is nothing but D concentration by A concentration. Here K1 is nothing but B concentration by A concentration. K2 is nothing but C concentration by B concentration. K3 is nothing but D concentration by C concentration. If you multiply this K1, K2, K3, see this B will get cancelled. This is C will get cancelled. Then we will get D by A only. D by A only. Suppose if we take H2SO4, this H2SO4 is dibasic acid. This H2SO4 can undergo dissociation in 2 steps, H plus HSO4 minus. For this K1, HSO4 minus gives rise to H plus SO4 minus 2. For this K2, then overall reaction is H2SO4 gives rise to 2H plus SO4 minus 2. I am taking for overall reaction K. Then K is equal to K1 into K2. K is equal to K1 into K2. If we take tribasic acid, take H3PO4. H3PO4 basicity is 3. Phosphoric acid, its basicity is 3. Its basicity is 3 means it undergoes ionization in 3 steps. Then stepwise equilibrium constants are, if K1, K2, K3, then overall equilibrium constant K is equal to K1 into K2 into K3. Overall equilibrium constant K is equal to K1 into K2 into K3. Here K1 greater than K2 greater than K3. Here K1 greater than K2. Next last point. That equilibrium constant value. That value changes with the change of temperature. It changes, Kc value changes with the change of temperature. With change of temperature. Equilibrium constant value changes with the change of temperature. So that Kc value increases with the increasing of temperature. Kc value increases with increasing of temperature in endothermic reactions. This is very important point. Kc value increases with increasing of temperature in endothermic reactions. Kc value decreases with the increasing of temperature in exothermic reactions. Equilibrium constant Kc value. Equilibrium constant value increases with increasing of temperature in endothermic reactions. Equilibrium constant Kc value decreases with increasing of temperature in exothermic reactions. This we can explain by using Van 't Hoff equation. That Van 't Hoff equation is log K2 by K1 is equal to delta H by 2.303 R into T2 minus T1 by T1 T2. By using this equation, we can explain how the equilibrium constant changes with changing of temperature. By using this equation, we can explain. Log K2 by K1 is equal to delta H by 2.303 R into T2 minus T1 by T1 T2. Here T2 is greater than T1. Here T2 is greater than T1. Let us take endothermic reactions. Endothermic reaction. In endothermic reactions, delta H value is positive. This delta H value is positive. Then log K2 by K1 is equal to, this delta H is positive. For endothermic reaction, delta H is positive. Already I gave that T2 is greater than T1. Then overall value is positive. Log K2 by K1 is positive. That means greater than 0. Log K2 by K1 value is greater than 0. Log K2 by K1 means log A by B. Log A by B formula, log A minus log B. Log A minus log B. So log K2 minus log K1 greater than 0. Log K2 minus log K1 greater than 0. Then K2 minus K1 greater than 0. Log K2 minus log K1 is greater than 0 means K2 minus K1 is greater than 0. Therefore, K2 greater than K1. K2 is greater than K1. That's why Kc value increases with increasing of temperature in endothermic reactions. Here this K1 is equilibrium constant at T1 Kelvin temperature. K2 is equilibrium constant at T2 Kelvin temperature. Here T2 greater than T1. If temperature increases, equilibrium constant value increases with increasing of temperature. So Kc value increases with increasing of temperature in endothermic reactions. We have this equation. This delta H is positive. Delta H is positive means this value greater than 0. Then log K2 minus log K1 is greater than 0. Then K2 minus K1 is greater than 0. Therefore K2 greater than K1. K2 greater than K1 means K2 value increases. K2 value is greater than K1. By increasing temperature, the equilibrium constant value increases. If we take exothermic reactions, this delta H value is negative. Then log K2 by K1 is less than 0. Then log K2 minus log K1 less than 0. K2 minus K1 less than 0. K2 minus K1 less than 0 is nothing but K1 is or K2 is less than K1. K2 is less than K1. Here K2 greater than K1, but here K2 less than K1. So by increasing temperature, equilibrium constant decreases. By increasing temperature, here T1 is lower temperature, T2 is higher temperature. At T1 Kelvin temperature, equilibrium constant is K1. At T2 Kelvin temperature, equilibrium constant is K2. So by increasing temperature, equilibrium constant decreases. That's why K2 is less than K1. Otherwise, just remember this one. Kc value increases with increasing of temperature in endothermic reactions. Kc value decreases with increasing of temperature in exothermic reactions. These are the characteristics of equilibrium constant. Next, relation between equilibrium constant, relation between equilibrium constant and reaction quotient. Relation between equilibrium constant and reaction quotient. Equilibrium constant in terms of concentration means Kc. Reaction quotient means Qc. If you take this general reaction, A plus B gives rise to C plus D. For this reaction, Kc is equal to formula C concentration into D concentration by A concentration into B concentration at equilibrium. That is very important point. These concentrations are at equilibrium. Kc is equal to C concentration into D concentration divided by A concentration into B concentration. Those concentrations are at equilibrium state. For the same reaction, Qc formula should be same only. Here also formula is same, but at any stage during the progress of the reaction, these concentrations are at equilibrium state only, after reaching equilibrium state only. But in this formula, these concentrations are at any stage during the progress of the reaction. So Kc is nothing but, equilibrium constant is nothing but the product of molar concentrations of products to the product of molar concentrations of reactants at equilibrium state is called Kc. Qc means the product of molar concentrations of product to the product of molar concentrations of reactants at any stage during the progress of the reaction. Both are, in both the cases, concentrations only, but here concentrations at equilibrium, but here concentrations at any stage during the progress of the reaction. See, if Qc is equal to Kc, if Qc value is equal to Kc, then reaction is at equilibrium. Reaction is at equilibrium state. If Qc is equal to Kc means reaction is at equilibrium. Second case, if Qc greater than Kc, then the reaction is, or say backward reaction takes place. Backward reaction takes place. If Qc greater than Kc, backward reaction takes place. If Qc less than Kc, then forward reaction takes place. This relation is important. They will give Kc value, and a Qc value will also give at different concentrations at different stages. Then calculate Kc and Qc. Kc is at equilibrium state, concentrations at equilibrium state, but Qc at any stage during the progress of the reaction. If both the values are same, then the reaction is at equilibrium. If Qc is greater than Kc means it favors backward reaction. If Qc greater than Kc means backward reaction takes place. If Qc less than Kc means forward reaction takes place. It's relation between equilibrium constant and Gibbs energy. See, from thermodynamics, we have this relation delta G is equal to delta G naught plus RT log Q. From thermodynamics, we know this relation delta G is equal to delta G naught plus RT log QC. Gibbs energy, standard Gibbs energy. R is gas constant. T is absolute temperature. Ln QC. That QC means reaction quotient. At equilibrium, delta G value 0. At equilibrium, delta G is 0. And QC is equal to Kc. See, QC is equal to Kc means reaction is at equilibrium. At equilibrium, already I wrote at equilibrium. At equilibrium, delta G is equal to 0, QC is equal to Kc. Then from this equation, 0 is equal to delta G naught plus RT log Kc. Delta G naught is equal to minus RT ln Kc. Delta G naught is equal to convert this natural logarithm into common logarithm, we should multiply with 2.03 minus 2.03 RT log Kc. This relation is also very, very important. Delta G naught is equal to minus 2.303 RT log Kc. This delta G naught is standard Gibbs energy. R is gas constant. T is absolute temperature. Kc is concentration equilibrium constant. See here, if Kc value is 1, if Kc is equal to 1, delta G naught value should be negative. Sorry, delta G naught value should be 0. If Kc is equal to 1, if this Kc value is 1, then delta G naught is equal to minus 2.303 RT log 1. Log 1 value is 0. Then delta G naught is 0. Delta G naught is equal to 0. Then reaction is at equilibrium. Kc is equal to 1 means delta G naught becomes 0. Then the reaction should be equilibrium. If Kc value, this Kc value greater than 1. If Kc value is greater than 1, delta G naught should be negative. If Kc value is greater than 1, take Kc value is 10, log 10 value is 1, then we'll get negative value. So delta G naught is negative. If Kc value is greater than 1, delta G naught is negative, then forward reaction is spontaneous. Kc value greater than 1 means delta G naught should be negative. Delta G naught negative means forward reaction is spontaneous. If Kc value less than 1, then delta G naught. If Kc value less than 1, delta G naught should be positive. Delta G naught positive means forward reaction is non-spontaneous. So next, Le-Chatelier's principle. Le-Chatelier's principle. That Le-Chatelier's principle is, if a chemical reaction at equilibrium is subjected to change in temperature, pressure or concentration, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which the effect of the change is reduced or nullified. That is equilibrium. That is Le-Chatelier's principle. If a chemical reaction at equilibrium is subjected to change in temperature, pressure or concentration. Then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which the effect of the change is reduced or nullified. That is Lee-Chatelet principle. I am taking one general reaction. A plus B gives rise to C. Delta H is equal to negative. This is reversible reaction. 1 mole of A plus 1 mole of B reacts and form 1 mole of C. Delta H is negative. Delta H negative means exothermic reaction. Let us discuss effect of concentration. Effect of concentration. In this reaction, if the concentration of reactants increases, then rate of forward reaction increases. If the concentration of reactants increases, the rate of forward reaction increases. If the concentration of reactants decreases, then rate of backward reaction increases. If the concentration of reactants increases, rate of forward reaction increases. See, for this reaction mixture, if we add some amount of A, means we are increasing the concentration of reactant, the rate of forward reaction increases. Or if we add B, rate of forward reaction increases. If we add C, rate of backward reaction increases. Or if we remove C, rate of forward reaction increases. If concentration of reactants increases, rate of forward reaction increases. Or if the concentration of C decreases, if the concentration of product decreases, rate of forward reaction increases. That is effect of concentration. Next, effect of pressure. See here, reactant sites, 2 moles of gas is there. Reactant site 2 moles. 2 moles gives rise to 1 mole. 2 moles means 2 into 22.4 liters of the gas gives rise to 1 into 22.4 liters of the gas. According to this Lee-Chatelet principle, if pressure increases, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a decreasing of pressure. If pressure increases, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a decreasing of pressure. That is, there is a decreasing of number of moles. So in this reaction, 2 moles to 1 mole. So if we maintain high pressure in this reaction, if high pressure is maintained, then rate of forward reaction increases. If pressure increases, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a decreasing of pressure. That is, there is a decreasing of number of moles. Here 2 moles of gas means pressure will be more. Here only 1 mole of gas. 1 mole of gas means pressure will be less. Here 2 moles of gas, pressure will be more. Here only 1 mole of the gas, pressure will be less. Because we know this formula, P directly proportional to N. If number of moles of the gas increase, then pressure will increase. If number of moles increase, pressure will also increase. So if in this reaction, if pressure increases, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a decreasing of pressure. That is, there is a decreasing of number of moles, so forward reaction takes place. So in this reaction, to get large amount of this product, we should maintain high pressure or low pressure. We should maintain high pressure. To get large amount of C, we should maintain high pressure. Suppose if we take this reaction, A plus B gives rise to C plus D. All are gases. Let us assume all are gases. For this reaction, delta N is 0. 1 mole plus 1 mole, total 2 moles. 2 moles of reactants gives rise to 2 moles of products, delta N is 0. So here pressure has no effect. In this reaction, pressure has no effect. See, because according to this principle, if pressure increases, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a decreasing of pressure, that is there is a decreasing of number of moles. Here 2 moles, then pressure has no effects. In this reaction, what is the effect of pressure? In this reaction, what is the effect of pressure? Pressure has no effects. For this reaction, pressure has no effect. Suppose in this reaction, if we maintain low pressure, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a increasing of pressure. There is increasing of pressure, that is there is increasing of number of moles. So backward reaction take place. If high pressure is maintained, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a decreasing of pressure, that is there is decreasing of number of moles, that is forward reaction. If low pressure is maintained, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is increasing of pressure, that is there is increasing of number of moles, that is backward reaction. But for this reaction, pressure has no effect. So I will give one more example. N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3. For this reaction, see here total 4 moles, 2 moles, 4 moles of gas, 2 moles of gas. To get large amount of ammonia, we should maintain high pressure or low pressure? We should maintain high pressure. If we maintain high pressure, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is decreasing of pressure, that is there is decreasing of number of moles. To get large amount of ammonia, high pressure must be applied. So we can generalize like this. If delta N is equal to 0, pressure has no effect. If delta N is equal to 0, pressure has no effect. If delta N is positive, then high pressure or low pressure? If delta N is positive, low pressure is favorable. See for example, A gives rise to B plus C. All are gases. For this reaction, delta N is positive. Delta N is equal to 2 moles minus 1 mole. Delta N is positive. So if high pressure is maintained, it favors backward reaction. So if delta N is positive, low pressure is favorable. Low pressure is required. If delta N is negative, delta N is negative means high pressure is favorable. See 4 moles to 2 moles. If we maintain high pressure, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is decreasing of pressure, that is there is decreasing of number of moles. Next, last one, effect of temperature. If temperature increases, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a decreasing of temperature. If temperature increases, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is decreasing of temperature, that is endothermic reaction. So we can generalize like this: high temperatures favor endothermic reactions. Low temperatures. If temperature decreases, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is increasing of temperature, that is there is liberation of heat, that is exothermic reaction. If we take this general reaction, to get large amount of these products, we should maintain high temperature or low temperature? We should maintain low temperature because this is exothermic reaction. Low temperatures favor exothermic reactions. N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3. All are gases. Delta H is equal to minus 92 kilojoules. minus 92 kilojoules per mole. For this reaction, what are the favorable conditions? Pressure, high pressure or low pressure? High pressure is favorable. High pressure is favorable because for this reaction number of moles decreases na 4 moles to 2 moles. So high pressure is favorable. Temperature, low temperature is favorable. Low temperature is favorable because low temperatures favor exothermic reactions. But at very low temperature, rate of reaction is very slow. At very low temperatures, rate of reaction is slow. That's why optimum temperature is maintained. This is a Haber's process. If we take contact process, all are gases. Here delta H is equal to minus 189 kilojoules per mole. 2SO2 plus O2 gives us 2SO3. Delta H is minus 189 kilojoules per mole. For this reaction, pressure, high pressure only, because 3 moles to 2 moles, 3 moles to 2 moles, so high pressure is favorable. But in that contact process, at very high pressures, the towers used in the manufacture of sulfuric acid are corroded. By using this contact process, sulfuric acid is manufactured. In that contact process, this is a key step. This is principal step. According to Le-Chartier's principle, high pressure is favorable, but at very high pressures, the towers used in the manufacture of sulfuric acid are corroded. That's why optimum pressure is maintained. Optimum pressure is maintained. Next, temperature. This is exothermic reaction, low temperature. But at very low temperatures, rate of reaction is slow, so optimum temperature is maintained. Suppose if we take one general reaction, A plus 2B gives rise to 2C, delta H is equal to plus delta H is positive. For this reaction, what are the favorable conditions? See, first pressure. High pressure is favorable or low pressure is favorable? High pressure is favorable. We should maintain high pressure to get large amount of products. If we maintain high pressure, then equilibrium shifts in the direction in which there is a decreasing of pressure, that is, there is decreasing of number of moles. So high pressure. Next, temperature, endothermic reaction, high temperature. High temperature is favorable. Next here, effect of addition of inert gas. Effect of addition of inert gas. At constant volume means if inert gas is added at constant volume, it has no effects. At constant volume means no effects. But at constant pressure means it affects. At constant pressure means it affects. Effect of addition of inert gas. If inert gas is added at constant volume, it has no effects. For example, if we take this reaction, 2HI gives rise to H2 plus I2. For this reaction, if inert gas is added, it favors which reaction? Forward reaction or backward reaction? It has no effects. For this reaction, no effect because delta N is equal to 0. Delta N is equal to 0. If delta N is equal to 0, then at constant volume or at constant pressure, it has no effects. Delta N is equal to 0 means if inert gas is added, whether it is at constant volume or at constant pressure, it has no effects. See, effect of addition of inert gas. First, if delta n is 0. Delta n is equal to 0 means here three cases are possible. Delta n is equal to 0, delta n is positive, delta n is negative. Delta n is equal to 0 means no effects. Even at constant pressure also no effects. If delta n is equal to 0 at constant volume and at constant pressure, no effects. If inert gas is added, it does not affect. It does not affect that position of equilibrium. So at constant volume means no effect. Whether delta n is 0, positive or negative, it has no effect. If inert gas is added at constant volume, it does not affect. At constant pressure means if delta n is equal to 0, no effect. But if delta n is positive, it favors forward reaction. If delta n is negative, it favors delta n is positive, forward reaction. Delta n is negative, backward reaction. It favors backward reaction.